The 5 most discouraging words you can hear from your doctor when it comes to neuropathy, I'm going to refer you. Now, listen, referrals aren't always wrong. Sometimes they're appropriate. But when it comes to neuropathy, for most people, those 5 words, they're not a solution. They're the start of a really ugly cycle, a loop, a merry-go-round, a medical version of being put on hold. Except instead of elevator music, you're getting new copays. Because what usually happens after I'm going to refer you is this. You get bounced around from provider to provider, you collect tests, you collect diagnosis, you collect prescriptions, and somehow you still don't have a real plan that actually moves you forward. You're stuck in referral hell. We call this the web of disappointment. And if you're in it right now, if you've ever felt like the system keeps sending you in circles, today we're going to break it down in plain English. What the web looks like, why it keeps tightening around people, and why so many good people end up stuck in it. Not to mention what actually breaks it. If you're new to the channel, I'm Dr. Smith, and along with my wife and fellow neuropathy specialists, we're the Neuropathy Doctors. Since 2009, we've helped thousands of people reverse and defeat neuropathy. People who were trapped in this exact referral cycle and told some version of, nothing more can be done. You're just gonna have to live with it. I want you to try this medication. How about you try some physical therapy? I'm gonna refer you to a neurologist. And here's what we've learned after seeing this pattern over and over. Most people aren't stuck because they're not trying. They're stuck because they're caught up in a system, most often with doctors who simply don't know how to help you with this condition. They were given visits, tests, prescriptions, and plenty of opinions, but they were never given a method, a step-by-step approach that actually addresses neuropathy in a comprehensive, strategic way. That's exactly why we created the 90-day reset method, a free training that breaks down exactly what needs to be a part of any successful neuropathy treatment approach. You can access it absolutely free by using the link in the description. Let me illustrate this web of disappointment by introducing you to our client, Velvet. Velvet's the kind of person who did everything right. She didn't ignore symptoms, she didn't wait years, and she didn't pretend that it was nothing. She fully recognized this was a problem and wanted to take action on it. But this is what she experienced.
Well, I had gone to my doctors at Kaiser. I went to 2 different ones and they both told me they couldn't help me, and they sent me to a neurologist. She asked me a lot of questions to determine if I had peripheral neuropathy and determined that I had it. Then a few weeks later, I was sent to another doctor who did the little pins, needles, whatever you call them. Then they sent me for an MRI, and they said that I did have peripheral neuropathy, but they said there was nothing they could do for it.
All these providers, multiple tests, but did you notice what was missing from Velvet's experience? An actual treatment approach. And at the end of all of it, she still couldn't answer one simple question. What exactly am I supposed to do next to get better? That's the web of disappointment. And if you're nodding right now, stay with us, because we're going to explain why that happens to so many people. As a matter of fact, quick question, and be honest, how many providers have you seen for your neuropathy? Put the number in the comments. Tell us if this kind of thing rings true for you, because this is one of the clearest ways to show how common this cycle actually is. Let's take a quick step back though and discuss how the web actually forms, step by step. It starts with symptoms that are real, but easy for the system to ignore or downplay. You might say, my toes feel numb, my feet burn at night, I'm getting tingling almost every day, my balance feels off, it feels like my socks are bunched up under my feet when they're not. And the system often responds in a predictable way. First, they rule out emergencies. Are you diabetic? Is it uncontrolled? Is there severe vascular compromise? Is there a major spinal event happening? Is there something obvious or acute? If nothing jumps out, the system does what it's designed to do. It moves you to the next station. Oftentimes, that's a referral to an orthopedist or a physical therapist. And again, this isn't irrational. Orthopods and PTs, they're good at structure, so they look at joints, bones, muscles. Maybe they take x-rays. They may even order an MRI. They may test range of motion. They press here, they rotate there, they do orthopedic testing. And what do you often hear? Well, your x-rays look normal. Nothing structurally alarming. I don't see anything that could be causing this problem, which is supposed to be reassuring, but it's also deflating because you're just sitting there thinking, okay, but I still can't feel my toes. So you get sent back to primary care. Now you're back at your PCP, and from their perspective, they did what they're supposed to do. They escalated appropriately. They ruled out certain things. So they move you on at this point to the next station, which is typically a referral to a neurologist. And let's talk about the reality nobody wants to say out loud. It can take months to get in to see one of these folks, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And during those months, your symptoms don't politely pause. Neuropathy doesn't go, "Oh, no problem. We'll wait until the neurologist is available." It keeps going. So by the time you finally get to the neurologist appointment, your hopes are high because you're thinking, this is the nerve specialist, finally. This is the person who's going to tell me what's going on and what to do about it. And then comes the testing, nerve conduction studies, electrodiagnostics. Let's just say it. That test is not comfortable, not in the least. For others, it's downright painful, but you endure it because you think it's going to lead to answers. And then you get the result. Either A, your nerves look normal, which makes you feel crazy because you're living in a body with nerves that definitely do not feel normal. Or B, you have neuropathy. And if it's that second option, which is common, the next part often looks like this. Here's a prescription. Now again, if you're shaking your head yes, this isn't unique. It's almost the exact scenario that happened with our client Sandra. Listen to this.
I went to my primary care and they did an x-ray of my lower back and said that I had a little bit of arthritis, but nothing that would be causing this problem. So then they sent me to a physical therapist, and I went to a physical therapist for several weeks, but the neuropathy was still there. So I went back to my primary care and they decided maybe I should see a neurologist. So they did tests and I didn't have any nerve damage. So they just suggested that I continue with a physical therapist, or I could take some medication.
Okay, so where are we at? We've been to the PCP, we've been to a physical therapist or orthopedist, we've gone back to the PCP, we waited a ridiculously long amount of time to get in to see a neurologist, and after all of that, where have we landed? Drum roll please, the medication station. And it's the usual suspects. If you've brought your neuropathy up with your doctor, it's almost guaranteed that they've recommended one of these. So you go home with something in your hand, but not a strategy for your neuropathy. And that difference is everything. I'll circle back to that shortly and show you exactly what I mean. Now, we need to talk about testing because testing can be useful and still become a trap. Here's what most people think testing does. I'm going to get this test and then they're going to tell me what to do. Here's what testing often actually does. I'm going to get tested and the test will confirm what I already feel, and then I'll be told that there's no clear path. Testing is good at measurement. It's not good at building a roadmap to recovery. It's like going to a mechanic and getting a printout that says engine performance, not good. Okay, we knew something was wrong. That's why we came. But where's the plan? What's the strategy? Where's the step-by-step process to reverse the trend, to make my engine perform better? That's what millions of people go through when they're trying to get answers to their neuropathy. At best, all the testing ends up being is a validation event, not a transformation event. People finally feel heard. It's real. It's not in my head, but they're left with the same day-to-day reality. Numb toes, burning feet, sleep disruption, balance fear. They're walking less. Their confidence is shrinking. So testing confirms it, but it doesn't change it. And if someone's whole strategy is just chasing the next test, then you are officially caught up in the web of disappointment. But we also need to talk about the medication phase, because this is where a lot of people get emotionally defeated. A prescription feels like action. It feels like finally something is being done. But here's the reality that we see constantly. Many people take the medication and realize my symptoms are still here, but now I have brain fog, or I'm still unstable, but now I'm tired and unstable, or I still feel the burning, but now I don't feel like myself. Medication often becomes the final stop in a system that doesn't have a restoration framework. So what happens? You go back, you tell your doctor that the symptoms are still there and getting worse, and the typical response, they increase the dosage, or they switch medications. And now you're not just dealing with neuropathy, you're dealing with side effects and worry. Then comes the resignation statements. This is progressive. This is part of aging. There's no cure, and you just need to learn to live with it. Learn to manage it. And people internalize that. They start thinking, this is my life now. This is the way my retirement's gonna be. That depression, that anxiety, that's the web tightening, because once someone believes that there's no path forward, they stop looking for one. Now, we'd be remiss in this conversation if we didn't talk about time, because the web of disappointment isn't just frustrating, it's slow. Referral, wait. Test, wait. Follow-up, wait. Medication trial, wait. Dose adjustment, wait. This process can take years, and while you're waiting, your nervous system doesn't pause. Your life doesn't pause, but your hope starts to get delayed. And the longer that happens, the more people start doing something subtle. They stop planning. They stop imagining a future where they're walking confidently on vacation. They stop picturing themselves enjoying retirement the way that they wanted to. They stop believing they can be active without thinking about their feet. Neuropathy ends up becoming the filter you run every decision through. Is there going to be a lot of walking? Will there be stairs? Will there be uneven ground? Will there be a long line where I'm going to have to stand for a while? And nobody sits you down and says, this is what's about to happen emotionally. It just sneaks in. We want to ask you something, and we want real answers. What's the biggest thing that neuropathy has taken from you so far? Is it walking with confidence, travel, sleep, peace of mind? Put it in the comments. People need to see that they're not alone in this. Here's the truth most people never hear. Our medical system, speaking strictly now about here in the US, is phenomenal at acute health emergencies. If you break a bone, you don't want a holistic conversation, you want a cast. If you have appendicitis, you don't want journaling, you want surgery. If you have an infection, you want antibiotics. But neuropathy isn't a one event issue. It's a long-term systems issue. It's influenced by circulation and microvascular support, metabolic stability, inflammation, mechanical stress and pressure, nutrient delivery and utilization, lifestyle consistency. That's not one specialist lane. That's why the system fractures neuropathy into parts. The ortho looks at structure. The neurologist measures the nerve signal. Pain management modifies perception. The PT works on movement. Each one is doing their job, but nobody's responsible for the whole. That's why you can be treated for years and still feel stuck, because being treated isn't the same as having a structured, all-encompassing treatment strategy. And neuropathy requires this kind of system. That's why, like I mentioned earlier, that strategy, having a system in place, makes all the difference. Here's what I mean.
I am about 90% better from the pain that I've had. My knees burn maybe once a week. My feet burn maybe once a week. And that's it, where I was having burning sometimes 24 to 48 hours. And so I'm definitely 90% better.
The neuropathy is a lot better. I'd say maybe 80-90% better. I'm starting to walk again, and it doesn't seem to be bothering me. Sleeping is a lot better.
Velvet and Sandra offer clear evidence that you can absolutely break free from the web of disappointment. But there are a handful of phrases that keep people stuck in the web. Let's call them what they are. They're web glue. And you need to be on guard for them so you don't fall victim to them. How about this one? That's just part of getting older. That phrase sounds harmless, even compassionate. But what it often means is, well, we don't have a comprehensive strategy inside this allopathic system, so we're going to normalize your decline. We don't accept that. Aging is obviously real, but losing function doesn't have to be your default. Here's another one. There's nothing more we can do. This usually means there's nothing more we can do in this lane. But neuropathy doesn't live in one lane. So if you only search one lane for solutions, you'll eventually hit a dead end and think it's the end of the road. It's not the end of the road, it's the end of that lane. And people confuse those two things every day. So, what actually breaks the web of disappointment? What gets you out of referral hell? We're gonna give you the architecture, not a cute bullet list. First, someone must own the outcome. Not just the diagnosis, not just the prescription, the outcome. A plan that says, this is what we're gonna do first, this is what we're gonna do second, this is what we're tracking, this is how we know it's working. Without ownership, Your care becomes a series of disconnected events and random try this and try that type of guesswork. That will not get you the results that you need and want. Second, you need a specific system, not dabbling. Most people dabble because they're desperate. They try creams, socks, random supplements. They try stretches they saw online. They try whatever someone in the comment section swore that worked. And then when they still have neuropathy, they conclude nothing works. But the truth is, random actions don't compound into results. Systems compound. Third, you need enough time for the system to work. Nerves don't usually respond to a weekend experiment. Consistency matters. The body responds when you create a supportive environment and maintain it long enough for function to improve. That's why the web is so dangerous, because it trains people to do two things: to wait passively and to try random things aggressively. Neither is a system. But if you want to see the specific system that we use, the exact approach that we walk our clients through to get the kind of results that Velvet and Sandra did, we teach it in our free training called the 90-Day Reset Method. It's not about vague tips, it's the method. And you can register below using the link in the description and finally see what a real plan looks like. The turning point happens when someone stops asking, who should I see next? And starts asking, what needs to be in place for improvement to actually happen? Because that's a radically different question. Who should I see next keeps you dependent on a system. It keeps you stuck in referral hell. But what needs to be in place puts you back in control. It changes your posture from passive to active. Now you're not waiting to be rescued by a referral. You're the one building a framework. And when people adopt that mindset, everything shifts. Listen, we so appreciate you watching our videos and hearing our message. And this was a really important one. If it resonated with you, then we invite you to stick around with us and watch some of our other videos. We're not going to sugarcoat neuropathy. We've been doing this a long time now, and there's a lot of lies, mistruths, and outright garbage information out there about this condition. We're going to tell you the truth so you can take control of this thing and get your quality of life back. If you're stuck in the web of disappointment, we want you to hear this clearly. You are not doomed. You are not too far gone. You're also not crazy for knowing that something is wrong, even when a test comes back that everything looks normal. You were put into a system that is designed to identify problems, not necessarily solve them comprehensively. And if you've been referred 3, 4, 5 times and you still don't have a real plan, that doesn't mean you're hopeless. It means you've been stuck in the web, and webs are meant to be broken. Don't hesitate to reach out to us, and don't waste another day. We'll see you next time.